Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. With the international break, we thought it would be a good chance for us to take stock, see who the best players and teams have been so far to help influence our choices for the coming game weeks. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Mark, aka the FPL General. Welcome, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, Joe. Feeling good going into the break. I don't always enjoy international breaks, but managed to get a green arrow for a change. And the fact that this is the last one until March, I think this break will do us all good. It's
Mm,
been a testing season for myself, and I know for many others as well. It's been a quite unpredictable season in
mm.
many ways,
Yeah,
but I'm looking forward to, a little break, and then it's going to be all systems go then right through the winter for hopefully a good run of green arrows for all of us. So yeah,
right.
looking forward to getting stuck into some numbers today from
Okay.
the season.
Okay. We got good green arrows. Well, I've got a marginal green arrow, but we both got green arrows this week. I'll be interested to see what the chat says about those. There's been a bit of stick coming your way for not having Haaland. But let's just see how that goes, given his penalty miss, given that you probably outscored all the Haaland teams that are going to raise criticisms this week in the
Yeah, and
chat.
this will be the one week of the season where I can actually read the chat under the video.
Yeah, definitely. Before we go on, just a reminder, do press that like button, does help us out. Do remember to subscribe, keep update with our latest content. Also, do check out membership offers at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk to get access to all the tools and gadgets that help you climb up your mini leagues. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look and see how Mark got on. Have a quick look at his team, but we'll look at that in more detail next week and decisions and captaincy matrix and things like that next week. But then we're going to have a look at the best attacking players, the best for expected goal involvement, best for defcon, best goalkeepers as well, because some people want to have a change, particularly those with Nick Pope. We're looking at the teams to target, the worst defences, and the best attacks as well. Okay, let's have a look at how you got on. So you free hitted. You had enough for your team. You just thought, I'll give it a bit of a change. So do you want to just take us through your decisions? You got 50 points, a free hit. Luckily, Haaland missed a penalty, so he only got basically a 2-point goal rather than a 4-point goal. So lots of people captained, so that wasn't so bad. But yeah, just take us through your team. And some of the players that you removed for this week, and some you brought in.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think back there to last week's video. I probably didn't mention free hits at all, possibly, or maybe just in passing towards the end of the video because it wasn't really on my radar Monday, Tuesday last week. It was more when I started looking ahead to the weekend. The main thing for me was I had a lot of issues, of course. Gyökeres, Chris Wood, Kudus, still kicking about. All of my players, I think, if you took out the flag players and the Crystal Palace triple up, everyone was playing away from home. Nick Pope was away, Virgil. Anderson, Senesi, Semenyo. So I just thought for my setup, given that there wasn't going to be unlikely to be any blanks or doubles, it was as good a week as any just to go for
Mm-hmm.
it. And I mean, it's not exactly competing with people I usually compete with this season anyway. And the free hit itself wasn't spectacular, but simply just having that bringing in Sanchez instead of Pope and bringing back Joe Pedro for a 1 week fling,
Mm-hmm.
held on to Saka, held on to Munoz. I did captain Mateta over Saka, so it could have been even better. But just getting rid of all the blankers, having the two Chelsea guys, unlucky not to get anything from Enzo in that game either, who came in. It was enough for a 600k green arrow, which is not a major achievement where I am in the rankings, but it's a green arrow all the same. And it felt good, and it could have been even better. I'll just run through the team for the audio. Sanchez came in, Muno stayed, Gabriel stayed, and I brought in Timber. Finally went double
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal defense, and both get 1 pointers.
Yeah,
Uh,
what
well,
what a week to do it.
well done, Mark. Sar and Mateta stayed. Both dodged points. Sar in particular dodged points that first half. Enzo dodged points for Chelsea. Bruno Fernandes, very late assist. I was extremely close to switching to Bumo on Saturday morning. Decided just to stick with Bruno and thankfully got the late assist.
Yeah.
Saka did the business. Wish I captained him. Captain Mateta blanked. I think Palace looked fatigued overall in that Brighton game. Joe Pedro got the goal, which was nice. And Jared Bowen, thanks to Wan-Bissaka for
Yeah.
stealing my points on that one. So, yeah, again, it was very simple. It was Sanchez, Joe Pedro did well. Saka Munoz, who I kept, and Bruno did okay as well. And it was the blankers elsewhere. The
Yeah.
Haaland penalty miss, the Semenyo penalty miss, dodged that bullet. And yeah, nice green arrow to take into the break.
Yeah. So a lot of people haven't actually played their free hit left. It's one of those ones where a lot of people are looking for the perfect time to play it, and there isn't. It's going to be massively team specific, and I think you played it at the right moment because you had a couple of cool key players, or two or three actually, with injury doubts, and you weren't sure what to do with them. Some of them might be back as well, so it was a good time to do that. So effectively, it was like a mini blank game week for them because they didn't have the players. So, but the problem is with a free hit, if you're taking out good players for other good players in a week, you run the risk of your free hit team actually outscoring. Your normal team actually outscoring your lovely free hit team. So I think that's a real danger, not being able to do it in a blank or double game week as well. So we've got a real issue with that here, and I'm bearing that in mind when I do my free hit, which I don't know when it will be, but I think it'll be similar to you. It'll be a time when I've got a lot of sort of injury doubts for like a week, and or rotation. We a bit nearer Christmas as well. That might be quite a good idea to do it. So you start thinking, well, they're going to rotate. Let's bring in some of those, Croupy Junior, those kinds of players that don't usually get a start. I worked out what you would have got if you'd have done nothing, and you'll be pleased to know you're 12 points up.
That's good.
So
the transfer would have been kudos to Enzo.
Yeah.
If I didn't free hit.
Yeah, would have done. Well, then you would have been, then it wouldn't have been much more.
Yeah, but I still would have been on one free transfer.
Yeah,
but I would have Enzo in the team, of course.
So I think you were third. I think Virgil van Dijk got 1 point in the end, and you were 13 points up going into that final Man City game as well. So I'm looking at that, and I think people need to be realistic with a free hit. With a bench boost, I think anyone who can get 12 points has had a really good bench boost, I think. Any more, obviously, brilliant, but I think that's a good bench boost. I got 16 when I used a triple captaincy. Some people got 9, some people got 10, some people got 12, some people got 5. I don't know. But I think anything double digits, sort of 10 to 15 points is pretty good for a triple captaincy return. And a free hit, we need to be realistic about it. And you're 12 points up on by using your free hit. I think that's a massive result. And when I use mine, if I can walk away with that, knowing I've outscored my previous team by 12 points, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, and I think the free hit chip is so dangerous because someone asked me on a stream last week, they said, how many more points do you want to get on your free hit than your current team? And my answer was 1, because so often the original team outscores and you end up doing yourself damage. So to get 12, 13 points extra, to me that's a huge success. And I've definitely had much worse free hit game weeks. And I think for those who have it left, there's always the option of not playing it as well, because if you're really happy with your team every week and you avoid injuries, you don't need to change it just for the sake of it. And you'll see there, I kept quite a lot of players: Gabriel, Munoz, Sarr, Matera, Bruno, Saka. Now, they didn't all do well, but it was kind of a conservative free hit in many ways, because there's so much frustration in FPL and you can have so much regret, and losing good players on a free hit just to get something for 1 week, very often doesn't play out the way you want it to. So, Saka and Munoz are the good examples there. Sarr and Matera, yes, they blanked, but I always wanted them for that Brighton fixture. So, yeah, be open to not playing it. I think if you're certainly in the first half of the season, if your team's in good shape, but also if you do play it, don't make 15 changes.
Yeah, definitely. Good advice there. Okay, let's have a quick look at your old team. This is what you would have got into.
I don't want to see my whole team.
Yeah, but you would have had Semenyo's penalty miss. I got that. I got Haaland's penalty miss. I've had 2 Bruno Fernandes penalty misses, 4 penalty misses, and I'm not alone there. It's quite a lot. But anyway, do you want to just take us through your team? Because it's a bit unusual, especially for those listening to the podcast versions. They can't see, but it's got a nice Christmas tree formation, upside down Christmas tree.
Yeah, my wife said to me yesterday, "Can we put the tree up soon?" I said no. I said December 1st, but at least the FPL team is. I'll just show this instead. I'll say that the team's in a Christmas tree formation now. So back to the misfits after the free hit. 1 free transfer available, 0.1 in the bank. Feel like I've been on 1 free transfer, 0.1 in the bank all season. The problems, I masked my problems for a week and now they're all back. So we'll need to monitor the fitness of Chris Wood, Gyökeres and Kudus. They're all currently on the bench with Dubravka. There's a back 5 for the next game week, which looks quite good. In contrast to last game week, they all play at home apart from Munoz, who plays Wolves. I've got Anderson home to Sunderland. Senesi has West Ham at home. Semenyo comes back in as well. Gabriel home to Spurs. Not a great fixture, but it's Gabriel. And Virgil home to Forest looks good as well. I've got Nick Pope in goal, which might be the weak link looking at this team. We'll talk about him more later. So Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Sarr. Again, home fixtures, apart from Sarr with Wolves, and up front by himself is Mateta. Currently has the armband just because he had it last week.
Okay.
So I mean, as a 5-4-1, it looks strong. Nick Pope does look like a weak link there. But of course, it'll probably come down to, do I get a new goalkeeper with one free transfer, or do I finally get rid of a Wood or a Gyökeres or a Kudus?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've only got that one free transfer there. Well, when we talk to goalkeepers, because I think my move will be for a goalkeeper in game week 12, so that will be pertinent. Let's just have a quick look at the fixtures. So fixture-wise, it's all changed. This is why at the beginning of the season, people thought, oh, I'm going to save my wildcard to game week 12. Some people have, and they're using it this week. And there'll be a wildcard video I'll be recording that tomorrow, I think, which is Tuesday. But yeah, the changes, because it's a fixture swing. It's a big one for Liverpool. Manchester United as well. Crystal Palace's fixtures continue. Man City's are good still. Bournemouth improve, as do Fulham. Arsenal's continue to be good. Brighton are okay, especially for the first half of this period, right up to game week 19. Nottingham Forest isn't too bad. Brentford have the odd couple of bad ones, but still pretty good. Newcastle's fixtures on the whole good, but given their away form, perhaps not so good. Meanwhile, Tottenham, Wolves, Leeds, Sunderland, West Ham fixtures are pretty poor. Aston Villa's next three are good, but then they sort of drop off a lot because they've got Arsenal in the mix twice in there. So yeah, this shows that perhaps Liverpool, Manchester United should be in our thoughts. Crystal Palace have probably already been in our thoughts. We might have already gone there. And Bournemouth and Fulham as well, which is handy for me because I'm looking for sort of cheap defenders.
Yeah, good to get a wee snapshot right up until the halfway point of the season here. Liverpool top the charts on the fixture ticker. They don't top the charts probably anywhere else so far this season, which is making them a tricky place to go FPL wise. You know, Salah's too expensive for his output. You've got a lot of rotation. Gakpo's in and out. Szoboszlai's probably been the most consistent, but he's historically not been a fantastic FPL asset. They don't really keep clean sheets. Van Dijk scores offside goals and Champions League goals, but no Premier League goals. So it's a bit of a nightmare. You know, Florian Wirtz has not settled whatsoever in the Premier League. Isak not up to full fitness. So even with the great fixtures, I think most people will probably swerve. I'll stick with Van Dijk, but not expecting huge things from him. But it's you keep him for this fixture run and you hope for the best.
Yeah.
More interested in Manchester United second on the ticker from an attacking perspective. I've got Bruno. I would like to have Brian Mbeumo as well, possibly for this run. You know, I think the United attack and double up will be as popular for the next few weeks as it has been for a couple of years. Those home fixtures in the next 8 really stand out for Man United. They've got Everton, West Ham, Bournemouth, which looks better than it did maybe a couple of weeks ago. And they've also got Wolves and Newcastle at home. And again, Newcastle not as good as they were a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, I think Bruno, Bumo, Cunha, yeah, they're all looking very attractive. Seshko seems to have an injury issue now as well, which could be having out of position Cunha up front, for example. And then top 3, Crystal Palace still have a very good run. A lot of people are doubled up or tripled up. And if you haven't done so already, it still looks like a sensible thing to do.
Okay, right here. Let's have a look at the best players so far this season in terms of expected goal involvement. I mean, it's a long list. I think where was my cutoff here? I think
You should have cut off the top guy.
I should have got off the top guy, but I think I just put it. I kept it going really for as long as I feasibly could because they're all options. I think, and there's a good range of prices here. Minutes per expected goal involvement non-penalty. They range from Haaland with every 84 minutes he's got expected goal involvement to Gibbs White with every 255 minutes, which is still very good. That's still good as well. So we'll start at the top. Haaland, obviously, famously, you're not having him this season, but it just shows what he's been doing. 14 goals and an assist. Missed a penalty, still made amends by scoring. He's got Newcastle next. So a lot of people are going are thinking of perhaps going against Haaland. I'm personally not, because I look at his ownership as well. And I don't want 80% Haaland up against me. I mean, you've got 180% against you, and that's bad enough. But yeah. So anyway, I mean, we all know that he's a really strong option, so it's no surprise there. Mateta's next, and you're going to captain him next up against Wolves. So far, we think. Minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty, averaging 33 minutes. He's got 50 points, which is half of Haaland, but still good. 6 goals so far. Ownership very strong, like getting into 3 in 10 teams. Pretty nailed on. 32 shots, which is absolutely huge, second only to Haaland, 18 on target. So, yeah, you must be confident with Mateta as your captain, because he's literally the second best attacking player this season so far.
Yeah, I keep calling him Haaland light, even though he's probably only a tenth of what Haaland is, really. Just on Haaland again, before I get to Mateta, I just think Haaland could be captained from now until Gameweek 38. You're probably going to do pretty well. I agree with you that on, especially with his ownership, I don't think it's worth going against him. He's too good, and in this City setup, you don't try to be too clever on that one. Don't try and be an idiot like me. Mateta is having a really good season, and I really like this Crystal Palace team. I sat down to watch Crystal Palace Brighton on Sunday with a lot of hope that Sarr and Mateta would get loads of points, and certainly the first half they left points on the table, both of them. They linked up a couple of times, and Sarr had some good opportunities. It was a good save from Verbruggen. But overall, I did think Mateta in particular looked a little bit tired, a little bit fatigued, and Glasner hasn't really been rotating much, and he also doesn't have anyone really that can play Mateta's role. And he's even mentioned about him being tired, a couple of weeks ago in terms of finishing his chances. So I think that was on show again. But the fact now there's an international break, he'll probably be with France, maybe won't play much. After the break against Wales, I do like him. Now, the armband might not stay there fast forward 2 weeks' time, but he's obviously going to be in the team for quite a while with that good run of fixtures for Crystal Palace. So I'm hopeful. He didn't get me captain points in game week 11, but hopefully when I do captain him again in the future, that he'll do the business.
Yeah, well, he's certainly got the fixtures. You can probably rely on him for a number of weeks to come, because the way fixtures. I mean, even at Manchester United at home, and then Burnley and Fulham, Man City. Well, I don't even know if that is tough now for Crystal Palace. But I know as a Brighton fan with that game, as soon as it got to half time and it was 0-0, I thought, I can't. Crystal Palace have got to go for it in the first bit of this second half, or they're just not going to do it at all, because you can see they just all flag.
They were flagging big time, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but good on them for keeping Brighton at bay. Gakpo is next here. Now, he's the one that no one will go for, and I think justifiably, because he's had 9 starts, which is still quite a lot. But he with Wirtz playing sometimes, and Isak coming back. It's just too much of a risk when you've got all these players here. But nevertheless, it is worth noting, should there be any injuries over the international break, to elevate him into our thoughts. His minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty, is the 3rd best so far, every 160 minutes. 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 attacking returns. Not too shabby. He's created 21 chances, which is third best, joint 3rd best on this list. I think we'd all love to get Gakpo in, but none of us can really, because we don't know whether he's going to start.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple with Gakpo. He was a lot more attractive, first chunk of the season, and I was there myself for a couple of weeks because there was no Isak in the picture yet, and he was pretty nailed on the left wing, and he was playing really well at that point as well. Just doesn't get enough minutes. When he does start, often bang on 60 minutes he comes off, or might not have even started the last game. So yeah, when we're going to talk about some other midfielders on this list, and I just don't think Gakpo is in the same conversation as them.
No. Enzo Fernandez next, but he's got, as you said, he's been nursing a knee injury, a knee problem for 4 months, which has kept him out occasionally for club and country. But nevertheless, he's 4th on this list here. Minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty, 161 minutes. He's had 11 shots on target, created 17 chances and 5 attacking returns so far. But obviously let down a lot of owners last week game week 11. But the fixture's still fairly strong with Burnley away. But then it's that Arsenal game, Leeds away, Bournemouth away, Everton at home. It sort of becomes mixed, I would say, fixture wise. But game week 12 away to Burnley looks good. So Enzo, I can see people move. If he doesn't get anything against Burnley with Arsenal up next, I can see a bit of an exodus for Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, I think owners have been extremely unfortunate last 5 game weeks. He always passes the eye test. He's got loads of routes to points. I had him on the free hit, so it was my first time, maybe my first time ever owning Enzo in FPL, I would say. And despite the blank, I really enjoyed having him and watching the game, and I would love to have him for Burnley. We're recording this first Monday of the international break. Sunday night after the games, I was looking at kudos to Enzo because I had 0.0 and I decided against it because I might want to sell Pope instead. Probably makes sense to fix a Gyökeres Chris Wood issue, and I'm now priced out already. So if I won't really want Enzo for Burnley and going forward, it's probably a -4 or keep Nick Pope and some injured players. So Enzo, I think, is a really good FPL asset this year. I like his price. I like what he's capable of. I like that he's not going away with Argentina, so he can rest the knee for a couple of weeks and hopefully come back fresh. If I don't have him for the Burnley game, I'm going to be a bit fearful of what he can do in that one.
I'll try and be as quick as I can because there's loads of names on here as well. Brian Mboma, you've already said you want to get him in. 6 attacking returns, 5 goals and assists. So, he's fulfilling his promise. Minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty every 166 minutes there. No defcon. Fernandez so far is only one with a marginal defcon that we've mentioned so far. But Brian Mboma, nailed on. Created 19 chances, 14 shots on target. Yeah, it's a really good fixture one that you talked about. I've got Bruno Fernandes. I don't see the need for that switch. We saw it this last week. Brian Mbeumo scores the goal, but he only ends up with 2 points more than Fernandes. Doubling up, I think, is a very viable strategy, especially for those perhaps on wildcard.
Yeah, and Bruno's ownership is fairly high anyway. You're probably finding your mini leagues that Bruno's quite highly owned. Adding the second one now for the good run of fixtures, I think is the differential play. If you're starting on a blank canvas on a wild card and you only want one, then maybe that's when you go Bumo over Bruno Fernandes. I was watching a United game the weekend, very nearly went for Bumo, and as soon as he scored the whole way through the rest of the game, I was just thinking he's going to get a brace here.
Yeah.
He always looks so lively. Focal point of the attack so often, and Bruno made me sweat until 95th, 96th minute to get that assist with a good delivery. So I agree with you. I wouldn't move from Bruno to Bumo, but if it's a blank canvas, then I think Bumo probably is the better pick.
Gyökeres is next, currently injured but should be back. Arsenal's fixture, they've got Tottenham at home, Chelsea away, Brentford at home, Aston Villa away, Wolves at home. So it's mixed, but obviously they're the league leaders. And you expect them to do well. Gyökeres has got 4 goals, minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty, everyone 181 minutes, but only 8 shots on target and only 8 created. So, bear in mind, Mateta has had 18 shots on target. So Gyökeres I don't think can compete really, especially, now Saka's not on this list, but that's because I sorted it by minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty. He does have penalties, and Saka can get, as we saw this week, 12 points, double-digit haul, no problem. So I think that just proves Gyökeres is doing well on here, but Saka's probably the one to get if you're going to spend a bit of money on Arsenal players. But obviously the defenders are very strong as well, and so is Rice.
Yeah, when I looked at my team after the free hit, it's like, oh no, there's Gyökeres again, there's Chris Wood again. So. Yeah. Gyökeres does need to go. I think even if he recovers quickly from his injury, he can't compete with the other names on this list. He can't compete with Arsenal defenders. He takes an Arsenal defensive spot. I went Timber Gabriel on the free hit. It didn't work out, but it's something I would like to have much more than having Gyökeres stuck in my team at the moment. So, and also Jesus back in training. Havertz probably back soon. Marino can play up front. Minutes won't be as good, I don't think, after the break as they were first part of the season.
No, definitely. Ismail Sarr's next. I mean, I've had him on my team for a little while and done nothing for me in good fixtures, and he's still got good fixtures, but then he goes off to AFCON, game 16, 17. and he plays Man City coincidentally in Gameweek 16 as well. So I think you're going to have to give him the next four. But yeah, and I think he's worth investment now for the next four because he just seems to be on the verge of points all the time. 4 attacking returns so far, just 5 shots on target though, and 8 chances created. So it's not a lot there, but they're of quality according to this. Minutes per expected goal involvement non-penalty every 190 minutes. Yeah, he's a firm hold, and I think he's a transfer in next 4 definitely. But his time is running out.
Yeah, again, I managed to watch a lot of games this season, more than last. And Sarr, I almost put in his own category as an FPL midfielder, where he's so central and so direct when he gets the ball, and he's very often right up in support of Mateta. And there's not many other FPL midfielders that we can say that about this year. So, despite the lack of returns, he's like you say, he's always very, very dangerous, very direct, playing for a really good team. And yeah, I have him. I'm a happy owner. I will just write him out until he goes away, and then use the top up transfers to see him out. So yeah, if you don't have him, I wouldn't let the fact that we're getting closer to AFCON put you off, because it's one of those where you can certainly miss out in points by being a wee bit too conservative there. I think he's a really good pick.
Yeah. Pedro Neto and João Pedro are side by side on here. João Pedro's got 59 points, Pedro Neto 52. And João Pedro's got 7 attacking returns, Pedro Neto's 5, not too shabby. Not much in the price difference as well. Neto's 7.1, João Pedro's 7.5. But yeah, Pedro Neto's been a really good differential. He's only in 6% of teams. And people who've gone there, I think have done very well, really, because he's matching João Pedro, who's more popular in almost half of teams. And he's created 17 chances as well. He started all 11. So he's sort of secretly been a really good player this season. And people are sort of only just discovering him, just as Chelsea's fixtures sort of take a slight turn.
Yeah, he's one of those that very few people touch because of various reasons. I do think Enzo's better. I think João Pedro's a better pick than Neto because he's a bit more secure minutes wise. What goes against Neto is he's got the extremely talented Estevao breathing down his neck. He's so good. You're always a bit concerned about Neto's minutes, even though they've been good so far this season. They've got a good goalkeeper, FPL wise, with Sanchez. They've got decent defenders. Reece James is back in the picture. Cucurella, Chalobah does well for DEFCON. So it's quite hard for Neto to break into the top 3 Chelsea assets. And even Garnacho has been looking good recently. And maybe he's a little bit more secure on the left than Neto is on the right, but I would need to ask Chelsea fans more about that. So yeah, Neto, decent season so far, but he doesn't get in for me ahead of Enzo or João Pedro or a defensive asset.
No. And Dice next. It's just Everton's fixtures. Manchester United, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Arsenal. Does have Burnley in Game Week 18. It's not a great run of fixtures, really. So it's possible, that he's not a buy at the moment. 5 attacking returns, though. And he's amongst the best in getting DEFCON amongst the attackers. A very rare attacker here. So he's getting DEFCON points per start, 0.5. So DEFCON returns every 4 games, which is pretty strong for him. It's just those fixtures really for Everton.
Yeah, fixtures. I really like the player, and obviously has the various routes to points, as some of the others do here. But just overall, the number that jumps out at me is 12 shots. He just doesn't get the volume as much as some of the others. I know he's good. 14 chances created is a healthy number for him. But yeah, it's always one of those. You look at Njai and you'll always look at 1 or 2 others. And I feel like the 1 or 2 others always wins out in my mind when I look at Njai. I stuck him on the bench on the free hit, just first sub. Obviously a good option if anyone missed out. But I was obviously grateful that he did blank. So he's a fine option. I wouldn't put him in the top 5 midfielders.
No. Diallo's next. 6.3. So people haven't gone there. He's playing sort of, I don't know if you would call it even out of position, but he's got 4 attacking returns, which isn't bad, really. He's hardly in any teams, barely 2% of teams. But he has created 14 chances, and he's had 15 shots as well. Yeah, he's a cut price route into Manchester United's attack. He's only side 9, But I mean, you're a Manchester United fan. I mean, you assume he's first choice at the moment.
Yeah, the manager obviously really likes him, and I like what I've seen of Ahmad this season as well. He's been so versatile. He's obviously a winger, more of a winger attacker by trade, but he's been playing the right wing back role very effectively. Now he did start more in a kind of an attacking three at the weekend, but then when Mazraoui came off, Ahmad I think dropped back into his more familiar position recently, which is right wing back. But that doesn't stop him obviously getting forward, creating chances and getting shots away. It's just again Bruno, Bumo, Cunha. I think they're all better. I know they're all more expensive. And Ahmad's has been fairly secure for starts, but I don't think he's not ever going to be a 100% secure like some of the others. So yeah, I would swerve him as well.
Yeah. Okay. Salah's next, and this is a guy. People are thinking, oh, we'll get him in, but I mean, he does have really good fixtures coming up, including those home games: Nottingham Forest in game week 12, Sunderland game week 14, Brighton game week 16. But minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty every 227 minutes. He has got 6 attacking returns, but João Pedro's got 7. So, and he's half the price. And that's the thing, it's the price issue, really. He's created 21 chances, but just 9 shots on target. But he is getting the volume of shots, 26. That's absolutely huge. Yeah, I mean, I think he is. Now is definitely the time. But Salah and Haaland teams, I still don't like whenever I see them.
Yeah, I've always said I don't like Salah Haaland teams last couple of seasons because I just don't like the money that it takes up. I was speaking to quite a few people last week who were using their free transfer last week to go basically Gyökeres to Mark Guiu just to with one eye on Salah this week, which is good forward planning if that's the player you want to bring in, of course, or else they were just banking a transfer to try and make it easier. Now, a couple of things are attractive here. Obviously, the shot numbers are good. The ownership is as low as it ever gets for Mohamed Salah. But on the flip side, the issue is Haaland is so reliable, and you don't need Salah for the armband if you've got Haaland. And if you've got Haaland for the captaincy, I think you're better spreading your money throughout the squad rather than shoehorning both of them in and then maybe taking a shortcut or two somewhere in the squad. Now, the shortcuts this season are a lot better than they have been with defcon, midfielders and defenders, for example. But no matter how good the fixtures are, I if I had Haaland in my team, I would still be spreading cash around rather than having both.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Which is a shame because I
Yeah.
think he could do really well.
Again, differential if you're chasing,
Yeah,
then Salah's your guy, I think, for the next few weeks.
yeah. I mean, game week. Yeah, you can captain him pretty much any week. But then you can also captain owners can also captain Haaland pretty much any
Yeah,
week as
or
well.
it's a strategy. Maybe you do have both,
Yeah,
but if you are, far behind in many leagues, you have both, but maybe you can't sell over them,
yeah.
and you hope that the swing isn't, obviously you just hope it goes in your favor.
Just a few more names to mention. Grealish, we mentioned here. He sort of evened out in terms of assists. So remember he started with the huge amount of assists, but he hasn't really built on that. 5 attacking returns, goal, 4 assists. Minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty, really strong every 229 minutes there. But yeah, I mean he's just sort of okay, I think. For 6.8. But the next name, Bruno Fernandes. It's good to see him here. Minutes per expected goal involvement, non-penalty every 239 minutes. Chances created a whopping 29, the most of anyone on this list. Shots 25. And only really those big strikers, and even Salah's got 26. But Bruno Fernandes, so he's really strong underlying stats. 2 missed penalties. I feel like it'd be getting monster hauls from Bruno Fernandes most weeks. I'm happy to take 5 or 6 points off him, but yeah, he's on the verge.
I mean, Bruno's a funny one with chances created. It almost tricks you sometimes because if you go into the scout members area and you look at the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, chances created midfielders, Bruno will be top 3, top 5. He'll probably be top 1 a couple of seasons as well, but they're not always the highest quality chances. He takes so many indirect set pieces. Free kicks from deep, and someone gets a head on it, which is a really low quality chance, but obviously goes down as a chance created. So you've always got to be a wee bit careful with chances created with Bruno, and dig a little bit deeper into maybe the expected assist side of things to see the quality of those. But he's still in my mind a great pick this season. I had him at the start, missed a couple of hauls, then sold him on a wild card, brought him back in. Kept him on the free hit. Just to avoid frustration mainly of the big haul that could come at any point, and penalties, of course. So, and yeah, we just looked at the fixtures. They're great. He can get defcon. He's got everything you want. Similar to Enzo really at Chelsea. I think the two Fernandes is a good approach for the next few weeks. Brendan Bumo's been great and obviously has better non-penalty XGI here.
Yeah.
But penalties are important. I know Bruno's missed two, but he
Yeah.
will take the next one. We're led to believe. So I I'm totally happy with Bruno, and I think he's just one you just plug in, you leave him there, and you focus your transfers elsewhere.
Minter for Brighton is next. Minutes per expected goal involvement non-penalty just below Bruno Fernandes there. 5 assists, which is the most on this list at all. So he's the most creative, as in the most productive with the way he's creating them. So you can see the difference there. Bruno Fernandes 29 chances created, Minter 17, but he's also had 17 shots. So Minter is using those chances he's creating much better in a more attacking role than Bruno Fernandes is in. Brighton's fixtures: Brentford at home, Nottingham Forest away, Aston Villa at home, West Ham at home, Liverpool away, Sunderland before they go for Arsenal, and then West Ham again. So it's a really nice run of fixtures for Brighton continuing. He's in my side, got me 3 points this week, got me 9 points the week before. So he's averaging 6 points a game, and he cost 6 million. So I'll take that. Yeah, I think he's still a strong option. And there's another player here, Gibbs White, that has been mentioned on the Goals Imminent show that I do with Mark Joblin. He's had 3 attacking returns so far, so he's not on people's radar. But I think perhaps he should be, because I think he's looked a bit better recently. Perhaps as Sean Dyche has done something, I don't know, made him run a couple of marathons or something in training. He's got the slim chance of defcon as well. Hardly in any teams, but secretly he's had 25 shots, created 11 chances, and had 8 shots on target, same as Bruno Fernandes. So, yeah, I think both of those are really strong options. There's still lots in that mid-price midfielder bracket.
Yeah, I think that's the problem when you look at these Gibbs White players. There's so many other options that are stronger and better teams. Minte, I watched 90 minutes of Palace Brighton. Obviously, I was laser focused on the Palace guys that I own, but Minte looked good again to me. Exactly what you want to see from an FPL perspective. He had one really good chance that he took on with the wrong foot.
Yeah, he did. I saw that as well. He meant to shoot with his right, and he shot with his left, or the other way around.
It's basics. It's coming across the box. He should be coming onto it with his right foot. He tried with his left, and it went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
But the position he was in is the takeaway. Really good goal scoring opportunity. Anyone who has Minte, you hold him, and I think when you are considering cheap midfielders, he's as good as any. I think at his price. I know some of the others are a wee bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But I certainly prefer Minte at 6 million over Gibbs White at 7.3. I briefly looked at Gibbs White for the free hit. For that final spot, it was going to be Bruno, Bumo, Paqueta, and Jai, or Gibbs White. And Gibbs White was never going to win out over the others.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of explains, where he is as a pick. I think it's 2-2 for him, but it's very hard for him to force his way into our teams.
Yeah, but another option there. Let's have a look at defcon. So, I mean, we won't go into so much detail with all these players. We'll run out of time, really. But this shows probably what we already know. So with this one, I stopped this at basically a defcon every other game. So a defcon's per points per start 1. So all of these have got 1 or more for there. So every other game. And Senesi is top, defcon points per start every 1.6. He's got a couple of assists as well, and everyone knows about it because he's in 25% of teams as well. It's worth noting that Trufa is cheaper and is occasionally getting defcon and is getting assist potential as well, and I think is a really strong option. We've got Anderson here. I may indeed bring Anderson in because he's just reliable in getting defcon. Doesn't matter the fixtures. He's only 4.5 still, and he's only 2.8% of teams. No, he's not getting through to anyone. But anyway, he's got really good. Fulham have got a really good fixtures here, so I think I might be bringing him in as well. No goals and assists if we want to try. Lacroix, Crystal Palace, he's 5 million. Defcon points 1.3 per start. He does have an assist and a goal recently in the Champions in Not they're not in the Champions League yet. In Europe, whatever they're in. And Tarkowski as well is next. 5.4, 1.3 defcon points per start. Now he is a really he was touted a lot at the beginning, but it's Michael Keane. I mean, came away with 15 points with a goal. Who's looked better. So we'll stop there. I mean, there's some good bunch there of players. A couple in your team already. But yeah, it shows the choice. But I think all of them, I think it's Tarkowski is the outlier there. Well, I look at him in a team and I think, Michael Keane's the better.
Yeah, Tarkowski, we'll start with him. We all thought himself and Murillo would be the two main guys, and Murillo doesn't even show up here.
No.
That might change under Dice, of course. But Tarkowski, yeah, what goes against him is Michael Keane is pretty good himself at defcon, and he's much more threatening when it comes to the other opposition's box. And owners got a lovely 15-pointer, a very deserved 15-pointer. Anyone who had him, because they picked up on that and they saved the money, and it's just a lovely little reward you get then when you get the cheaper guy and he goes bigger. I've got Senesi. Still like him as a pick, despite losing 4-0 at the weekend. Hopefully that's a bit of a blip. Anderson, I think what stands out to me most here, looking at these, top 5 or 6, is the ownerships, because Senesi's at 25%, then Anderson's only 2.8%. And likewise, the Crystal Palace guys, Lacroix 3.8 and Richards at 3.3. This is the first season of DEFCON. It's a DEFCON season, but people are still not catching on, really. They obviously have done so with Senesi. He probably started the season well, which is more of a reason, and maybe got a goal and some attacking returns. But it's surprising to see Anderson, Lacroix, Richards so low, combined there for like 8% in total.
Well, the reason is it's also, we'll bring him forward a little bit. DEFCON points per start every other match. Mark Gahey, he missed out this time with injury. He's in 35% of teams. So people have made their choice and they're sticking with it. There's no point making a sideways move. I've made my choice with Munoz because I fancy those goals and assists.
Likewise.
But he costs a bit more. But not too much more now.
Yeah. Obviously the Gahey attacking returns are inflating his ownership massively. But, surely they're unsustainable. Watching that Palace game at the weekend, Richards was like a magnet. Every time Brighton tried to play forward, he was just in the way. Blocks, clearances, interceptions. Lacroix as well, we know he's good at them, and got his head on a set piece towards the end, who could have scored a winner. So I think there's more goals to come from Lacroix as well. I would say Lacroix is maybe a bit more of a goal threat than Richards, but Richards at 4.5, especially now with Gahey having a bit of an issue with his foot, that Richards should be picking up more managers. But again, I suppose thinking, maybe rolling back a wee bit on the ownership with the Palace guys, Matera's popular, Sarr's popular, and obviously Gahey there as well, and Munoz.
Yeah, a few more defenders to mention. We've got Collins at Brentford, definitely points per start, 1.1, so more than every other game. He's 4.9. If he was 4.5, I'll go for him, definitely, because Brentford's fixtures are improved. Got Michele at Sunderland, he's only 4.2. Once again, DEFCON monster there, and he's got 3 assists and a goal. Dan Ballard is getting the headlines there, though, recently. I've got Alderete. I don't know if he's going to get back in, so I might have to move him on. And then, that's the last of the defenders there. So there's some options there, particularly Collins at Brentford. And then the rest of them are midfielders. Elliot Anderson, we thought he would be there. DEFCON points per start, 1.1. He took a penalty as well, so he's on the penalty list. Probably wouldn't get them when the others, Gibbs White, Chris Wood, are on the pitch, but nevertheless he's in the mix. He's created 15 chances. João Palhinha at Tottenham as well is also fulfilling on his promise as well. Those who played the Sky game will know that he is a beast at this type of metric. And Casado as well. Attacking returns are sort of inflating him, bumping up his FPL points to 60 so far. But yeah, so he's had 3 goals and an assist, but he's getting a DEFCON every other game as well. So that's the metric that you can rely on there. So there's some much more good choices there, but I can't quite bring myself to get more of these defensive midfielders. I want a bit more, and I think people are looking at Casado and thinking he gives that bit more, but I don't know how sustainable that is.
And it's just not fun. I think that's what it comes down to. People find it's like the Ward-Prowse a couple of years ago. We used to always say, get Ward-Prowse, have him for 38 weeks, there's your 180 points, job done. But that's a very boring way to play FPL. And Caicedo's kind of similar. even less because he doesn't have set pieces. But just such a good player that he is finding his way into attacking returns as well. He plays so aggressively, he'll press really high at times, and he'll just get those little sideways pass assists where he plays a little pass to Garnacho. Garnacho beats four men and sticks it in the back of the net. And there's your Caicedo points, defcon, 7, 8 points, job done. We'll probably look back at the end of the season and Caicedo, I do expect him to drop off a wee bit, but again, what was he? Was he 5.5 to start with, probably?
Yeah.
He's going to be exceptionally good value the way things
Yeah.
are going.
Yeah. Definitely. Let's have a look at goalkeepers. Because I've got Nick Pope. I can't bear I can't bear
Save
Newcastle
us. Someone
away.
needs to save us from the Pope.
So yeah. So looking at the fixtures, it's I looked at the fixtures and I just thought, okay, but I didn't think he would get a clean sheet there. But he's got Man City at home. That's tough. Everton away. So that's away. Tottenham at home. That could potentially be tough. Tottenham are much better away. Burnley at home. Finally, he's got a good home fixture. Sunderland away. Well, we saw what Sunderland did to Arsenal. Then it's Chelsea at home. Manchester United away. Burnley away. They got one good game out of all of them. Two, if you count the second Burnley game, game week 19. So I looked at that, and I think for me personally, I'm going to move to Petrovic at Bournemouth because I don't have any Bournemouth defenders. He in contrast has West Ham at home, Sunderland away. Well, that's probably the toughest. Everton at home, great. Chelsea at home, you never know. Manchester United away, Burnley at home, Brentford away, Chelsea away. I think the fixtures on the whole are better there, and he's cheaper and he saves a bit of money. But so they figure both on this table. So Dubravka is top in terms of minutes per save. So they've got to be minutes per save and a save every 30 minutes at least. A clean sheet as well. So Dubravka's got clean sheets, best for saves, as you imagine he would be for Bournemouth. Burnley. Rivs at Sunderland's minutes per save every 24 minutes, 4 clean sheets. Nick Pope, 5 clean sheets, but not any of those recently, but he costs 5.2 minutes per save, not as strong as the other two, every 27 minutes. Vicario at Tottenham has done well, minutes per save every 28 minutes and 4 clean sheets. And it's Petrovic, 4 clean sheets, same as Vicario, minutes per save every 28 minutes. So these are the guys to get, really. Dubravka perhaps won't get as many clean sheets, but 4 million. So yeah, Dubravka and one of these others is the way to go. Or if you've got a lot of money, Raya, because it's the Arsenal defence.
Yeah, I'm the same boat as you with Nick Pope. 1 clean sheet in 6, I think it is now. And
Not good
more
enough.
worryingly is he's not been playing well. He's been making mistakes. There's a very good goalkeeper sitting looking over his shoulder. I know
Yeah.
Eddie Howe's been very loyal to Nick Pope, but on social media, Newcastle fans are calling for give Ramsdale a couple of games, see how things go. Obviously better with his feet in terms of distribution. So yeah, I feel like this is the exit point because it's Man City and then it's a couple of tough games. When I put my team up at the start there, I really like my starting 11 for Game Week 12 apart from Nick Pope. So if I play FPL in its simplest form, get rid of my weakest link. I know I've got injuries on the bench, but get rid of Nick Pope this week because I don't expect points there for the next few weeks. So get someone in now. Try to get a couple of clean sheets on the board. I've got Dubravka, but I don't really ever want to start him. Roofs, I'm just looking at the overall points for the season. Roofs is the top scoring FPL goalkeeper so far with 56. He's got 3 more than David Raya. Pope's in third, but I would expect him to slide down the list now. There's a player not on your list that I quite like because I just had him on free hit and he got me a clean sheet, and that's Sanchez from Chelsea.
Yeah.
I just
It's
think,
just he didn't he's not getting the saves in comparison to
yeah,
these. That's why Raya's not here. Obviously, I don't think with that defence, he doesn't have to save too often. So that was Sanchez's
yeah.
problem there. But yeah, he's another option to consider.
Yeah, I've got when I get rid of Gyökeres, I will be eyeing up, Calafiori Timber instead of Raya. So I don't think I'll go Raya.
No.
Can't afford him anyway.
Yeah.
He's 5.9. He's got quite expensive now, but Sanchez is only 4.8. So he's 0.3 cheaper than Pope. Now that'll probably change over the international break, that little difference. But if the deadline was in 5 minutes' time, I think Pope to Sanchez. I will look at Petrovic as well, but I mean, just off the back of a spanking from Aston Villa. Just watching the Chelsea game, I liked what I seen. When you've got
Mm,
Caicedo in the middle, you've got
mm,
Enzo there as well. You've got good defenders. They're a good defensive unit,
mm.
and I feel like I'm ready to trust them a bit more now than I have done last
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
months.
yeah.
So yeah, I think Pope de Sanchez is looking good for me. I'd love to have Enzo,
Mm.
but I think goalkeeper would be a more sensible move.
Yeah, yeah. Sanchez, I hadn't really considered him, but yeah, he's an option because I've got two free transfers and I can move uh, um, Van der Ven to probably Truffert. I feel I need a Bournemouth defender just to not only to offset Senesi because he's so well owned, but also just because I just genuinely think they're going to get some clean sheets over
Yeah.
this period as well. So I do feel I want them. So yeah.
Just to leave you with some Sanchez thoughts. The next five fixtures for Sanchez: Burnley, Arsenal's obviously tricky, but then they've got Leeds, Bournemouth, Everton. So it could be better. It definitely could be better. But I think as the next five, it's not too bad. And then we'll have our top up transfers then.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a quick look at the worst defences so far in terms of XG conceded, expected goals conceded. Burnley are the worst. Nottingham Forest are the second worst. But there's a big drop off between Burnley and Nottingham Forest. Also, under Sean Dyche, I think recently they've got the prospects are a little bit better there. Then you've got Manchester United, actually, and are conceding a lot. It's just they're attacking a lot as well. West Ham, Wolves, Everton, these are all teams that you can be happy to field attackers against, as well as Tottenham, Bournemouth. And then when you get down here, Arsenal, expected goals conceded 6, Burnley is 24, it's 4 times as much. Man City only 10, Newcastle only 11, so that should make me think of keeping Nick Pope, but I'm not sure what I've seen recently. Crystal Palace strong as well. Brighton as well, surprisingly, are the fifth best and I have seen people go for Verbruggen and Van Heck, and well, they've rewarded them with 2 clean sheets in a row.
You think what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, definitely. So and then Chelsea are down there amongst the better defences. XG conceded of 13, so a little over an XG a game. So that sort of backs up what we've been seeing, really. So I'll just sort of mention them. And finally, I'll just have a look at best attacks as well. So this shows that all season, it's Chelsea. Expected goals, minutes per expected goal every 51 minutes. They've had 20 expected goals, 21 goals. Chelsea are the top attack.
I'd say 19 of that 20 is from Joe Pedro.
Yep. And Man City are next. Well, 23 goals there. Virtually all Haaland, virtually. Expected goals 20, just under 20. Arsenal then, just under 20, so they've got a strong attack. Then Crystal Palace. We thought they were top of this a couple of weeks ago, but they've gone down a bit. But yeah, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Manchester United. Then there's a bit of a drop-off, a little small drop-off down to Liverpool. And then Brighton. So Brighton are a strong attack, as is Brentford, and we know what Thiago can do. I've definitely got my eye on Thiago for a bench boost, but I want to swap. I need to wait for AFCON because I want to swap Sarr to a midfielder that might get me a return on a bench boost, so I can swap my Lyle Foster, who's not even playing, to Thiago, and then that's my bench boost plan. I don't want a bench boost with Lyle Foster at the moment.
Yeah, and it's all you need for a bench boost. I got it with Reinders.
Yeah.
People got it with Dewsbury Hall this week.
Yeah.
All you need is one.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Shaka or Dewsbury Hall or just, yeah. I mean, they might get me 2 points, but at least I've tried.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Burnley, Aston Villa, Wolves, Sunderland, Fulham and Tottenham are the worst attacks. West Ham as well, just above Tottenham there. So West Ham attack's actually better than the Tottenham attack.
Yeah, I'll just come in for I know we're going to finish shortly. Quickly, what stands out to me here, surprised to see Chelsea top. So yeah, again, would love to have Enzo, Joe Pedro. Even if you sold them, don't be against going back to him. The other surprises are probably, Liverpool are well down the list there. Brentford, we went into the season, a lot of us very downbeat on Brentford, and they're getting results and they're getting good underlying numbers. Well done, Keith Andrews, doing a great job there. Surprisingly far down the list, Bournemouth for kind of below mid-table or just around mid-table.
Yeah.
Newcastle as well, and Tottenham. Tottenham 11.03 XG.
Yeah.
I have held Kudus for way too long. That's what that tells me. And the biggest of all is Villa. 9.36 after, what is it, 11 games?
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking numbers.
Yeah.
But again, they did just score 4, so maybe maybe they've turned the corner.
Maybe they turn the corner. Yeah, I mean, bear in mind, obviously this is the last 11 weeks, but it's just helpful for what we're looking at going forward. And I think, on the whole, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Manchester United, Liverpool, Brighton, Brentford, you can be happy if you've got any of their attackers there because they are the most attacking teams so far. And many of them, Brentford, Brighton, Liverpool, Manchester United, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, in fact, all of them have got really good fixtures coming up as well. So that's good. That's handy there. Yeah, I mean, that was a good run through the stats, so kind of racing through them.
I need to lay down after all them numbers, John.
I hope that's of use, particularly those, wildcarding as well, because you've got lots to play with there, lots of decisions, but also just if you're just making transfers, whether it's goalkeeper, defender, or tapping into some of those attackers with good fixtures coming up, like those from Liverpool. Do let us know what players you're looking to get in, what teams you're targeting over the next few game weeks as well. We'll be back next week with a bit more about Mark's decisions, and also looking at that captaincy matrix again for those that want to go against penalty missing Haaland. For the meantime, Mark, thanks a lot for your time. We'll see you next week.
Cheers all.